morning, and welcome to Live Without Limits. Change your thinking to redesign your life. The show where we explore the tools, the strategies, the mindset to help you unlock your full potential and design a life that you truly love. I'm your host, Davida Shensky, and today we're diving deep into the topic that has shaped my own journey and the journey of countless people around the world, the law of attraction and how it influences personal development. Now, before I get into it, I want to apologize for what happened last week because I did not realize until the end of the show that everything was on mute with the microphone. Therefore, I hope you understand what happened and why. Now, before you think this through, that it is just about wishful thinking or repeating I am rich into the mirror. We're going to explore the real practical ways that you can use the law of attraction to transform your mindset, your actions, and ultimately your results. I'll share stories, examples, and actionable steps that you can start today. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how to harness this principle and grow into the best version of yourself. Now, let's talk about the core principles of the law of attraction. Let's start with the basics. The law of attraction is rooted in a simple but powerful concept like attracts like. The thoughts that you focus on, the emotions that you dwell in, and the beliefs that you hold all have a way of shaping the reality that you experience. So think about your mind like a magnet. If you're constantly thinking about scarcity, problems, and limitations, you'll be more likely to notice and experience things that confirm those beliefs. But if you shift your focus to the possibilities, solutions, and opportunities that you begin with to draw those into your life, this isn't magic. It's actually tied to how our brain works, specifically something called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. This is the filter in your brain that decides which information to pay attention to. Ever thought about buying a certain car and suddenly you see the exact car everywhere? That's your RAS at work. When you deliberately focus your thoughts on what you want, not just what you don't want, your RAS starts spotting those opportunities for you. The law of attraction, in essence, trains your brain to seek and recognize the things that align with your goals. So let's break it down exactly how the reticular activating system works and why it's so relevant to the law of attraction and personal development. So, what is the reticular activating system? The reticular activating system is a bundle of nerves located at the base of your brain in the brainstem. Its main job is to filter the massive amount of sensory information that you receive every second and decide what gets your conscious attention. Think of it as your brain's gatekeeper, deciding which of the millions of sights, sounds, and sensations are worth noticing and which can be ignored. While you don't see everything, on average, your brain processes every 11 million bits of information per second, but you can only consciously focus on about 40 or 50 bits at a time. Your reticular activating system, or your RAS, uses filters based on your beliefs, your values, your priorities, and what you've been focusing on to decide what gets through. How the RAS works in a daily life. The RAS looks for patterns, for things you've tagged as important, consciously or unconsciously. You decide that you want a red Jeep. Suddenly, you start noticing red Jeeps everywhere, not because there are more of them, but because your RAS is now tuned in to spot them. If you believe I'm unlucky, your RAS will spotlight every event that supports that belief. If you believe I always find opportunities, your RAS will pull those into your awareness. The RAS plus the laws of attraction. Here's where the link comes in. The law of attraction says you attract what you focus on. The RAS is the neurological mechanism that makes sure that you see, you hear, and notice the things that match your focus. When you visualize your goals, repeat affirmations, or practice gratitude, you're training your RAS to tag those ideas as important. Then it starts scanning your environment for things that match, opening doors you might have missed before. How to train your RAS for personal development. The clear goal setting. Be specific about what you want. The RAS can't filter for vague desires like success unless you define what that looks like. Visualization. Regularly picture yourself achieving your goal. This creates a mental tag for your reticular activating system. Affirmations. Repeating positive statements rewires the subconscious. The RAS filters for supportive evidence. Gratitude. Focus on what's good, and your RAS will show you more reasons to feel grateful. Consistent review. Keep your goals visible on vision boards, journals, or sticky notes so that your RAS is reminded daily. A warning. It works both ways. If you focus on fear, problems, or self-doubt, your RAS will also filter the world to prove those are true. That's why mental discipline is so important. Your RAS doesn't judge whether your focus is helpful or harmful. It just looks for matches. So, how does the law of attraction connect to personal development? We're going to look at the law of attraction as a personal development tool. First, self-awareness. Personal growth starts with knowing yourself, and the law of attraction forces you to pay attention to your inner dialogue? Are your thoughts empowering you or sabotaging you? Your second, we're going to look at your goal clarity. If you don't know exactly what you want, you can't expect to attract it. Visualization and affirmations are two tools that help lock in the clarity. You begin to see your goals as not just possible, but inevitable. Third, behavioral alignment. This is where many people get the law of attraction wrong. They think that if they just imagine it, it will magically appear. But the truth is, the law of attraction works best when you pair it with inspired action. When your mindset and your habits are in alignment, you become unstoppable. Now, before I go any further, I want to say this, that just thinking something isn't going to make it happen. I know many a preacher that will sit there and say, oh, if you just believe in Jesus and you ask Jesus for what you want, you're going to get it. Well, you know what? If you don't actually do something to make it happen, it won't happen. There have been many a times in my life where I struggled and someone was willing to help me because they saw me trying to work on my goals. So remember this, religion has its place, it has its faults, it has its truths, but unless you actually put into action anything that you want and work towards your goals, it will not happen. Finally, the law of attraction overlaps with science. Positive psychology tells us that optimism and gratitude change your brain chemistry. Neuroscience shows us that practicing new thoughts can rewire our neural pathways so that the law of attraction isn't just out there thinking, it's backed by how the mind actually functions. The law of attraction overlaps with science in several ways, particularly in neuroscience, psychology, and quantum physics. While the law of attraction is often presented in spiritual or self-help language, there are evidence-based mechanisms that explain how and why it can influence real-world results. And here's another thing that I'm going to say. If you go back and look at the laws, where the law of attraction comes from, and you look back at the modalities of the 1960s when they first started talking about self-help, and Eric Berne developed what they call transactional analysis, which the parent, the adult, and the child. The parent is the one that says you should. Think about all the shoulds your parents told you you should do. Then think about how the adult says, I am able to, and all of the things that you believe that you're able to do. And the child says, I want. Remember that little child in you that always said, I want ice cream, or I want to watch TV, or I want to eat this, or I want to eat that. That's your child. And often parents will say things to you, especially negative things like, oh, you can't live on your own. You can't think for yourself. You can't make your bed. So what happens? You start internalizing those things. When someone keeps telling you you're a failure, you begin to believe it, and you keep telling yourself that you're a failure. Therefore, where the laws of attraction comes in is it helps you to understand how those negative thoughts got started and how you can change them to make your life better. That's why I wanted to focus on a show which actually talked about the laws of attraction and how it works and how you can use it to retrain your thoughts. So here's the breakdown. Neuroscience, the brain's filtering and wiring. The reticular activating system, or the RAS, as we discussed earlier, your RAS filters the information you notice based on what you focus on when you set clear intentions, visualize your goals, and affirm them. Your programming, your RAS to notice opportunities that align with your desires. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Repeated thoughts and maintain images create stronger neural pathways. If you consistently focus on empowering beliefs, these connections strengthen, making positive thinking and goal-oriented behavior more automatic. Hobbes' law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. The more you think about a certain outcome, the more your brain treats it as your default, influencing your decisions and actions toward making it real. Positive psychology, the power of mindset. Brain, broaden and build. Theory. Barbara Fredrickson. Positive emotions expand your awareness, creativity, and resourcefulness. This matches the law of attraction's emphasis on staying in a high vibe emotional state to attract better outcomes. Self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that something will happen, you'll unconsciously act in ways that make it more likely. This is the behavioral backbone of the laws of attraction. Placebo effect. Belief alone can create measurable changes in the health and performance. The law of attraction leverages belief to produce real-world shifts in how people feel and act. Quantum physics, or the energy and possibility. The law of attraction often refers to everything being energy, including thoughts. In quantum physics, matter and energy are interchangeable. And observation could influence outcomes, as in the double slit experiment. While mainstream science doesn't claim that thoughts directly change the matter in mystical sense, it does recognize the intention and observation can affect how we interact with reality, which indirectly changes results. Behavioral science, action alignment. The law of attraction stresses inspired action. Science shows that motivation and decision making improve when you have clear goals, positive expectations, and visual reminders. When your beliefs align with your actions, you experience captive or cognitive congruence, reducing mental resistance and making progress feel more natural. The bottom line is that the laws of attraction's principles aren't just mystical. They align with how the brain filters information, how emotions drive performance, and how consistent focus changes both mindset and behavior. In other words, the law of attraction sets your focus. The science explains the filter and wiring. The behavior changes the outcome to improve. So let's be practical. Now we're going to talk about the practical steps to apply the laws of attraction to personal growth. So let's get practical. Here are 4 simple, powerful ways to use the law of attraction in your personal development journey. Journaling for manifestation. Write in the present tense as if your goal has already happened. I am confidently speaking on stages to inspire others rather than I want to be a speaker. This helps your mind start believing it's possible. Vision boards. Create a visual reminder of your goal. Include images, words, and symbols that represent your ideal life. Put it somewhere that you'll see daily so that it reinforces your focus. Affirmation routines. Choose short, powerful statements that inspire belief. Repeat them daily, out loud, in writing, or in your head. Pair them with emotion because feelings amplify the attraction. Gratitude practice. Every day, list 3 things that you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your energy, form, lack of abundance, and that's the frequency that attracts more good into your life. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Even 5 minutes a day of intentional focus can change your trajectory over time. Now we're going to talk about some of the common pitfalls and how to avoid them. I want you to talk about the traps people fall into when trying to use the laws of attraction. Writing and waiting instead of acting. You can't just sit back and hope. You have to move towards your goals so they can move towards you. Negative focus. The laws of attraction responds to your dominant thoughts. If you're obsessing over problems, you'll keep seeing them. Unrealistic expectations. Dream big, yes, but also pair it with a realistic action plan. Comparing your journey to others. This is a fast way to kill your momentum. Focus on your own progress and your own timing. Now, before I go further, what I want to say is this, that often we compare ourselves to others because often a parent will say something where they compare one child to the other and they don't see each child as an individual and unique. And remember this, each of us have unique qualities that make us who we are. We have different personality types, whereas some people are reserved, others are outgoing, and it's easier for them to interact with strangers. So that be aware that when you're dealing with something, remember you are unique and no 2 people are alike. And what makes you good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at everything. So if you understand where your strengths lie as opposed to your weaknesses, work on them. And now we've covered the common pitfalls. Let's talk about how to avoid them so that you can keep the law of attraction working in your favor. Waiting instead of acting. Take aligned action. After you visualize, ask, what's the next step I can take today. Even small actions, an email, a phone call, keep you moving. Negative focus, shift to solution of thinking. Catch negative thoughts and reframe them into solution based ones instead of I can't afford this. Try. I'm finding creative ways to increase my income. Unrealistic expectations, commit for a long term game. Trust manifestation like planting a garden. Give your intentions time to grow and review progress quarterly, not daily. Comparing your journey to others. Focus on your metrics. Track your wins and progress against your past self, not someone else's timeline. Ignoring inner blocks. Do the inner work. Use journaling, coaching, or therapy to uncover and release limiting beliefs so that your subconscious aligns with your desires. Magical thinking. Become the person who attracts the goal. Who do I need to become for this to be my reality? Then embody these qualities now. When you use these prevention strategies, the law of attraction shifts from a feel-good idea into a repeatable, life-changing habit. Here's the big takeaway. The law of attraction is not just about thinking positively. It's about training your mind to see opportunities, aligning your actions with your intentions, and showing up every day as the person you want to become. If you take one step from today's episode, let it be this. Pick one small law of attraction practice, whether it's journaling, a vision board, affirmations, or gratitude, and commit to it daily. For the next 30 days, watch how your focus and energy shift. I'd love to hear your stories. You can connect with me at Career Performance Institute or message me on social media. Share how the law of attraction has played a role in your personal growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends who's ready to take their growth to the next level. So until next time, I'm Davida Shensky, reminding you to believe in your vision, take inspired action, and live without limits. And some of the last things I want to talk about is how you can use. Okay, so I've got someone asking how to deal with stress. Well, stress has to deal with the things that are happening to you on the outside. So when you intake those things, break it down and look at it, because it's a stressful situation. Can be either you're in an accident or someone you know got sick and you're trying to juggle your work and taking care of that someone, or you've got a newborn baby and they can't tell you what they want and you have to figure out what they want. So, and when you look at your stress, stop for a minute and just get quiet and think. Then look at the situation and how can you handle it so that it's not going to continue to stress, because that, in essence, affects your health. It affects your heart. It affects your thoughts. Break it down and think about it. And then think about what are some of the things that you can do to solve the problem to reduce your stress.